Welcome to RedDragon! Today we're going to be taking a look at the Voidcraft mod. Now, Voidcraft is one of those mods that doesn't have a lot of reviews or tutorials on it, so I feel like I myself would give a tutorial on how to progress in the mod of Voidcraft. Now, to progress in Voidcraft, you're going to need these, Void Crystals. However, these can only be obtained in the Void dimension, which you cannot yet access, and the end. So you can't really get started until you go to the end. However, there is one thing you can do. If you get yourself a book and some obsidian flasks, which are made with just obsidian and glass, then you can get started a bit. What you're going to want to do is dig your way down to bedrock. Once you get down to bedrock level, simply right-click with the obsidian flask, and it will fill with Voidic fire. Throw the Voidic fire onto the ground, and toss in a book. This will give you the Void Evade Mecham, the guide to the mod. The Mecham is actually quite a complete guide. However, it can be difficult to find the information you need among its pages, and to know what you need to do to get started.
Although you now have the Void Mecham, you can't really get started without Void Crystals. So, you need to head to the end and kill yourself an Ender Dragon.
You'll quickly notice that these Void Crystals are spawning ores all over the end. This is good, as you're going to need quite a lot of them. I recommend a pickaxe with looting to save you a lot of time. Each ore drops 2 or 3 Void Crystals, so it can take a while to get as many as you're going to need. When you have all the crystals you need, head back up to your base. I've marked down that you need 90 crystals to make the portal to the Void dimension. You'll need 1 more crystal to get started in rituals, without which you cannot progress in the Voidcraft mod. Before entering the Void, I also recommend crafting yourself a set of Voidic armor. This provides better armor and armor toughness than diamond armor. In addition, at this point in time, the Void Crystals will be much easier to obtain than diamonds, as they are all over the end. This will cost 24 Void Crystals for a full set, similar to any other suit of armor. You can also make yourself Voidic tools. These, like the armor, use Void Crystals. But they also use obsidian and diamond as the tool handles. When you're ready, take a flask of Voidic fire and toss it onto the bottom of the portal frame. This will light the portal. It's important to toss it onto the bottom, as if you throw it at the sides or top, the portal will not light. Then, make sure you're prepared before jumping in.
You may appear to be in a dimension of bedrock. However, this is actually soft bedrock and can be mined with a pickaxe. You may notice these liquids around me. The blue liquid is deadly, similar to lava, and will kill you very quickly, even with strong armor. The dark purple liquid is Voidic fluid, and is used in powering many machines. You may notice that it actually flows upwards, which is a very interesting mechanic. You also may notice in the Void that the corners of your vision becomes very purple, and your max health starts to decrease. This will go down very quickly, and for your first trip, you cannot spend a lot of time in the Void before you have to leave. To progress in Voidcraft, you're going to want to make sure you have your Void Vein Mecham in your inventory. You can open that up to the first page, Mysteries of the Void, and you'll notice you only have 1 entry, Voidic Ritual Blocks. If you click on those, you'll get the recipe for crafting them. Stone bricks surrounding a single Voidic crystal. This will make 8, so it is not overly expensive. Once you've crafted yourself some Voidic Ritual Blocks, all you have to do is place one down and right-click with the Void Vein Mecham. This will unlock a new entry, Voidic Ritualist. For the next ritual, you need to place down a Voidic Ritual block surrounded on all 4 sides by prismarine, glowstone, magma, and coal. The prismarine can be rather annoying depending on what mod you have installed, as it may require you to find a water temple. Once you are done, simply right-click the ritual block, and okay, we have an error. Okay, as it turns out, the order does matter. Sorry about that. So it has to go prismarine, coal, magma, glowstone. So I break those 2, and move them over. And there. That completes Words of Power is now unlocked. Okay, you may also notice that your Void Vein Mecham has a new tab for spells. However, this is empty at the moment. In addition, Shift-right clicking will turn your Void Vein Mecham into its spellbook form. This also is useless at the moment, as you do not know any spells. You'll notice in Words of Power, it talks about how you can use words and right-click the Void Vein Mecham, well, shift-right click, in order to enter the spellcaster mode. However, first you need to unlock a spell. For that, you can now click again in the Voidic Ritual list. There will be a new list to learn the basic elements. You have Flame, Freeze, Shock, and Acid Spray. I will start with Flame. You simply need Netherrack and Magma around a Voidic Ritual block. There we go. We have now unlocked the word Flame. And you'll notice that you go under Spells in your Void Vein Mecham, you have the spell Flame, and it requires Flint to be used. So, if I can just grab myself some Flint real quick, you can see that you can store the Flint in this spot. It will also work if the Flint is your inventory, but for convenience, it's better to simply store it in the slot. Then, shift-right click your Mecham. Hold on, one step back. First, you're going to want to select it so it lights up green. Then shift-right click your Mecham. You have the spell selected. Find a test subject, and this is about to go very badly. Activate it. Yep, it exploded. In fact, when you're first starting out, it's going to do that a lot. Until you progress more in the mod, the failure rate of spells is 75%. A really high amount. That means 75% of the time when you cast spells, you're going to blow yourself up. Yeah, that might have killed me if I hadn't been creative. And unless you have really good modded armor, you're not going to survive this in survival. Okay. Finally got Flame to work there. Without blowing up in my face. That took more than a few tries off camera. You may notice a new page in your Void Vein Mecham, Throwable Potions. These can actually be useful early on, as they give you a way to cast spells without a failure rate. When you throw the potion, it will cast the spell wherever it lands. However, these are kind of expensive in some ways, and also require a Void Alchemy table, which is a hassle to set up early game. In my opinion, it's not worth doing. However, for those who wish to get into it, I will show the recipe for a Void Alchemy table. The recipe is Void Bricks, found in the Void Fortress, an inert Voidic Infuser, which requires a lot of Voidic loot, a brewing stand, which is simple enough, and 3 pieces of Voidic Steel, which require coal dust, and iron dust, and a Void Blast Furnace. A Void Blast Furnace requires a Void Brick, more Void Cloth, which is some of the Voidic loot you'll find from mobs, and Void Chain parts, which are got from smelting Void Chains, which is more mob loot. Okay, it's a lot of work to set up, as you can see, and really not worth it. Now, to progress, you're going to have to go back to your Voidic rituals and complete 1 ritual of each type. Fire, as we already did, along with Freeze, Shock, and Acid Spray. Once you have completed them all, a new page will appear.
Once you've completed 1 ritual of each type, you'll notice you have a new page, the Voice. However, before you get into that, you may notice you have a new set of rituals for each type. You can continue down any of these paths and learn more spells of that type. I recommend Fire, as one of the spells, Explosion Fire, can be really powerful. In addition, you'll notice a new category, the Voidic spells. The page of the Voice tells you to enter the Void and gain some Voidic Infusion. When you gain Voidic Infusion, the edges of your screen will turn purple, and your max health will decrease. All you have to do is enter the Void and wait around for a bit. There we go. Pretty soon, you'll get this message. Your task is complete. I added a new entry to your Void Mecham. After completing the Voice, your spell failure chance will go down from 75% to 50%, meaning half your spells will now cast correctly. However, that's still a very high failure rate, so it may not be worth casting spells at this time. You will notice you have 2 pages, Voidic Control and Improved Casting. Voidic Control talks about Voidic Infusion, and it tells you to enter the Void and wait until the Voidic Infusion reaches an amount so high that you would ordinarily die. Improved Casting tells you to find a Void Fortress, which will decrease your chances of failing at spells from 50% to 25%. Of course, At this point in time, Voidic Control is much easier to complete. So that is what you should do at the moment. Just enter, and once more, play the waiting game as your health drops. I should probably mention you can complete the voice and Voidic Control one after another, which would save you a lot of time. That way, you only need one trip of going into the void and waiting. This feels like a good time to mention that when your Voidic Confusion gets high enough, after you've lost about 7.5 hearts, you will actually gain the ability to fly in the void. This can be handy, especially if you need to get back to your portal before you die. After you reach full infusion, your health will increase back to its max. Now, you can exit the void. You may notice a new tab in your Vade Mecham, Infusion. Infusion allows you to select abilities for Voidic Infusion control, such as Voidic Anchor. With Voidic Anchor, when your max health reaches half a heart, it will not go down to 0, and you will not die. However, you gain Voidic Infusion slightly quicker. I recommend selecting it, as death by void is sometimes hard to avoid. Or when you can select it after your max health gets low, if you think you can remember to do so. Now, with Voidic Anchor, you're ready to start exploring the void. The thing you're going to want to look for first are these. I found one not far from my portal, but it may take a bit of looking. These are ethereal seeds, and they grow next to this Voidic fluid. Right click, and you'll get some ethereal seeds, and possibly some ethereal fruit. Ethereal fruit is very useful, because when you eat it, you'll become temporarily immune to the effects of Voidic Infusion. This will show itself as a status effect called Voidic Immunity. Eating a single fruit will last 1 minute and 30 seconds. Thankfully, these can be farmed. Before you leave, you may want to grab yourself a bucket of this Voidic fluid. Not only is it needed for farming the ethereal fruit, it's also used in many other parts of the mod, so you probably want to grab as much as you can. Ethereal fruit is farmed differently from normal Minecraft crops. To get started with farming it, you will need a void hoe or better, ethereal seeds, and at least one liquid void bucket. You will also need some soft bedrock. Once you have all these materials, you're going to need to get to light level 2 or below. The quickest way to do this is to build yourself an underground lair. Bam! One completely underground lair. Though it may look still lit up, that's only because I'm under the effects of night vision. If you press F3, or function F3, you should be able to see the light level. If you look on the left side of the screen, in the middle section of lines, 3 up from the bottom, you'll see light. And here it says 0, because there's no light in this cave. Now, ethereal seeds can only be planted on soft bedrock, also known as fake bedrock, depending on the version you're playing. What you're going to want to do is you're going to have to place down some of this, and with your void hoe, kill it. However, this soil won't stay hydrated for long, unless it's hydrated not with water, but with a liquid void bucket. Well, with liquid void. So, you're going to have to dig yourself out of the area here, and place down the liquid void. You'll notice this creates a problem as it flows upwards. So what I like to do is take a piece of stone, or any building material, and block it off there. So you have just a little tiny sliver showing. Then, you can plant yourself an ethereal seed. Thankfully, growth can be accelerated with bone meal. Once the crop is fully grown, simply right-click it to get your ethereal seeds and ethereal fruit. You're going to want to grow your farm as quickly as possible. Thankfully, one liquid void bucket will spread out across multiple blocks, making it so you can have a larger farm going with just a single bucket of liquid void. Once you have a large supply of ethereal fruit, you can explore the void without worrying about dying from Voidic Confusion. Now, the next order of business is to get yourself some of the loot that drops off mobs in the void. There are 2 ways to do this. One, the most obvious one, is to kill some mobs. This has 2 problems. 1, sometimes you can't find the mobs you want, and 2, the mobs in the void are really, really strong. However, if you do take this path, you're probably going to want some enchanted gear, and even then, you're still going to have a lot of trouble. And, oh god, I'm going to die again. I don't even know if the mobs are that strong, or I'm just this bad. Anyway, as I was saying, if you do choose the path of killing mobs, you're going to want to kill a lot of basically every type of mob. For example, chain specters, if you kill it when killed, have a chance of dropping this item, void chains, which are vitally necessary to progress in Voidcraft. Also, while exploring the void, you may happen across these holes in reality. They cannot be broken, and stepping in them will teleport you to your same coordinates in another dimension that is completely random. I do not recommend stepping in them, as it's very easy to get death by lava in the nether, or death by falling into the void in the end. Another enemy you'll come across are these void's wraths. They are a lot easier than the chain specters, as their attacks don't do as much. They drop ectoplasm, which is used in a lot of recipes, and for making specter tools, which are better than Voidic tools. What I recommend doing, rather than killing all those mobs, is find yourself a void fortress. Since you're going to need to find one anyway, you're not really wasting any time. In addition, if you can get inside the fortress, you'll find in chests the loot from all the mobs from Voidcraft. Traveling to a void fortress will also decrease your spell failure rate from 50% to 25%. It will also unlock a new page in your Vein Mecha, Empowerment. For Empowerment, all you need to do is hold a Void Star in your hand. However, to get a Void Star, you'll need to kill the first boss in Voidcraft, the Corrupted Pawn. There, I found a chest in this fortress. As you can see, it contains a lot of that ectoplasm, along with a bit of iron. Here's another chest, this time containing some ectoplasm, some void crystals, and some void cloth. In void fortresses, you also come across these guys. They are called void wraths. However, they clearly look different from an ordinary void wrath, and have 100 total health, 50 hearts. They deal melee damage. It can actually deal quite a bit if you do not have good armor. Upon killing them, they will drop these charred bones, or burned bones, depending on what version. Burned bones are good for two purposes. One is create wither skeleton skulls, in case you need to summon the wither. The other purpose is in the recipe for make the chain skull, which spawns the corrupted pawn. Alternatively, you can craft them using burned bones and molten void chain parts. Molten void chain parts are simply made by smelting void chains from the mobs we saw earlier. And there you go, proof these can be found in chests. The next chest I found contained 2 molten void chains. Once you have all the Voidic loot you'll need, you can exit the void. I'll leave the Corrupted Pawn boss fight and all the new artifacts and swords you can make for a new video. For now, I simply want to show off some of the rituals and spells you can do. Rituals, even when multi-layered, are still very simple. You're simply constructing what you see. So here, you have to build this multi-block structure with magma blocks and a void ritual. Again, upon completing a ritual, you simply need to right-click the ritual block with your Vein Mecha. A thing to note is that even if you have extra blocks and right-click with your Vein Mecha, the ritual will still complete. The extra blocks will remain floating in the air. You can now look at your spells tab and you see your new spell that was unlocked. By placing in the spell component that's required, you'll be able to cast it. Select Sheath Fire, and now shift right click to enter spellcasting mode, and you can cast Sheath Fire. This will place fire all around your character. No matter attacks you have this on, it will deal them damage. As you can see, the zombie is taking damage. Interestingly enough, it does not light them on fire, which would be a cool thing to see. But as you can see, it does a pretty decent amount of damage, comparable to the Thorns Potion effect. My personal favorite spell, as previously mentioned, is Explosion Fire. What this does is it creates an explosion all around you. It does a very high amount of damage. As you can see, if I go into spellcast mode and cast it on the zombie by right-clicking, well, that happens because there's still a 25% failure rate. Now, if I can cast this on a zombie, and hopefully don't fail again this time, there. That's the explosion we want that doesn't damage me and only damage the enemy. And as you can see, it still killed the zombie in one shot, so it's still very powerful. In fact, as you can see, it can even one-shot a witch, which has more health than a zombie. Hi guys, could you bear with me for a sec? Thanks. So, this is my first video I'm posting as a YouTuber, and it's kind of hard to get started, so I'd really appreciate it if some of you could subscribe and hit the like button. Thank you. If 5 of you subscribe within a few days of when this video is posted, I'll make a new video within the week. Also, if you want to see a tutorial on any other mod, let me know down in the comments below. This channel is going to be for Minecraft mod tutorials and, hopefully in the future, some playthroughs of mod packs, possibly with my friends. I guess we'll see where it goes. That's all for now, and once more, thank you.